We've got Jeanne Mclaughlin, who is head of US marketing at Tradeweb, who's going to be with us for both rounds today. We've got the amazing Kimberly Marcus, who is director of supplier diversity at Aarp, who's with us for the first half of the program, and Lou Rosas, who is director of supplier inclusion at Robert Half. So we are so excited to have these incredible judges here with us today, and we have some really amazing businesses here to pitch as well. So before we get started, as always, some rules of the road at Sip and Pitch. Each company will have 5 minutes to pitch and present on their company, and there will be only one presenter from each participating company. The judges will have 10 minutes to provide their feedback and Q&A. We encourage you presenters to make this interactive, take the opportunity to engage with the judges, and of course, for those in the audience who are participating as well, please take the opportunity to utilize the chat to engage with our presenters. And if we have time, we'll be able to get to that feedback as well. And in the spirit of collaboration and to provide feedback, no presentation, no problem. This is an informal program that's designed to help our businesses learn, grow, and scale. If you are not speaking, please mute your microphone. That ensures that we can hear everything our judges and presenters have to say during the program. We have our amazing Lauren Schweppe from Team NGLCC on the line. You can see her screen here has our timer. So she's going to keep time, and she will provide verbal warnings at both 1 minute and at 30 seconds remaining. So I ask you all to just be patient with Lauren. She's not trying to interrupt you presenters, but she's just trying to make sure everyone stays on time. Remember, as I said before, this is a collaborative environment and it is a judgment-free zone. And most importantly, for all Sip and Pitch programs, especially our Pride program, we're here to have fun. So with that, I am going to turn it over to our first presenting company, which is Florida Pure Sea Salt. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Let's see, not start screen share while someone else is sharing. Try that again.
Should be good now.
All right. How does that look, everyone? Yeah, thumbs up.
Perfect.
All right, well, one of our core human needs is a connection to people. An incredible way to do this is through meals together. Food is a thread that connects us all, and ingredients matter. We all want to give our loved ones nutritious and delicious meals, but there's something that you're using every day that might just do the opposite of that. Salt. Where does yours come from? What else is in it? Hi, I'm Maureen Casiopo. I am the founder of Florida Pure Sea Salt. We're a gourmet sea salt company who crafts high quality and absolutely delicious products for food and cocktails while protecting the waterways and being socially responsible. So how do we do that, and how are we different? We need salt to live, but we need it in moderation. So when we don't add the chemicals and bleach and anti-clumping agents, over 80 minerals stay put in the sea salt. And our bodies need that, they crave it. It is essential for a healthy body and mind. And it's not just about what we do to our product. I think why we're different is because who we are as a company, and I'll get to that in just a moment. So we don't use any bleach. We don't use any, additive E554, I think it's called. So it's all natural, it's sustainable, it's a low environmental impact, and it tastes delicious. So our process, there's lots of different ways of making salt. We do it the more sustainable way, where we're collecting liquid water, we're collecting seawater, instead of an evaporated sea, in which some companies go into a mountainside and they actually use really heavy machinery to kind of tear it out of the side of the mountain. So it takes us anywhere from 4 days to 2 months to make a batch of sea salt, and it has to do with a lot of different variables, and it depends on what process that we use. And we offer 15 different infused flavors currently. Our garlic, chipotle infused, lavender. Our big one is the garlic. That's our top seller. And I think it is the best garlic infused sea salt around. I think if you find one better, I would love to support them and their business. So let me know. But it is a bold statement because we have been using fresh ingredients. Our rosemary is fresh rosemary. It's dehydrated, it's ground up, and we add it to the salt once it's made. And because it's not sitting in a warehouse for 10 months to sit on a shelf for another 6, 7 months, it's fresh, and that makes all the difference in a small batch, and we can control the quality because of that. The salt industry is one of the most commonly, salt is one of the most commonly used ingredient on Earth. The salt industry is a $4.5 billion a year industry in the US, and the spice market is a $6.5 billion a year market. A couple of places that you can purchase us currently is at Dillard's, Whole Foods, and we're just entering the fresh market. We also work with chefs all over the country, and from our website, you can hit up our website, floridaprcsalt.com, and in multiple specialty shops throughout the country, most of which we're really regional right now as we're growing and a young company, and you're going to find us a lot in Florida. And who we are as a company, we are women owned. We are NGLCC certified, woohoo. And my background is nonprofit outdoor education. And we recognize that the makeup is definitely a focus as we grow, and noticing that when people can bring their own experience at the table, we'll be a lot stronger for it. We also as a company really want to educate, cultivate connection, protect our waterways, and have a positive impact on our community. That brings us to some of our social responsibility. If you're not familiar with B Corporation, we're going through the certification process.
1 minute.
Thank you. And we are basically it's a concept of balancing purpose and profit. Bombas Socks is B Corp certified, Patagonia, Ben & Jerry's, and we have the help of a bunch of interns who are fabulous undergrad and postgrad. From USF, and they're helping us through the process to get certified. It's a very long process to do so. And on the right-hand side, you'll see Salts for a Cause. This is one of our largest initiatives.
30 seconds.
These organizations on the right-hand side here, and we are supporting them in their efforts of what they do best. And 20% from our Salts for a Cause that have specifically designed labels for each organization goes back to the organization. And that is a year-round fundraiser. So for 12 months, we'll be doing that and supporting them in those ways. And if you care about high quality ingredients, health, supporting small businesses, superior customer service, and follow us on Instagram. Go to our website, purchase a salt for yourself or a family member, and I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all have.
I can't wait to try it. This is awesome. And I think you're in my backyard too. So that's pretty exciting. I'll tell my mom to stop in at Dillard's and grab some. But thanks so much, Maureen. Jeannie, let's start with you. Any feedback here?
Yeah, I mean, you've got so many good marketing points. It's almost hard to figure out where to start. You know, like you've got the women-owned business, you've got the environmentally friendly, healthy, and the product itself, I mean, I was really like wanted to try them all, like 15 different flavors that all were like really interesting, you know, not kind of like, you know, enough that were standard, but enough that like might make people like want to buy multiple sets. So my question would be, you've got the supplier that you're in Dillard's, Whole Foods. Is it just regional, or are you nationally distributing right now?
So with the bigger folks, so with Whole Foods, we are regional. With Dillard's, we're national. And the fresh market, we are going to be national as well. So we're growing outside our borders of Florida, which is really exciting right now.
That's awesome. And do you have is it better to sell online or retail for you for profit reasons right now, or?
Yeah, so our margins are bigger when we sell direct to consumer, so through our website, but we have a bigger footprint when we work with these larger companies, and you know, they're looking to make a margin, then our distributor is making a margin, and everyone's taking a piece, right, who kind of helps. So there's pluses and minuses to both. But we also sell to, and we work with business to business. So large corporations or small businesses can come to us for client gifts, for employee morale gifts, and anything in between. And we offer discounts in those areas. We also offer a couple different products we don't sell in our retailers that can be customizable labels too, for people's logo, or like baby showers, wedding showers. That's kind of the direction of those. So we will, if you want to work with us, we will work with you and figure it out.
No, that's brilliant. If you have any specific questions around marketing, happy to ask. But I mean, it's a lovely product and clearly very well thought out marketing plan already.
Thank you very much.
There we go, finding the unmute button. Thanks so much for that, Jeannie. Kim, let's go over to you. Any thoughts here from Maureen?
Hello, my friend. How are you? Great presentation, Maureen.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'd love feedback on my presentation as well. I'm not a very comfortable public speaker, so any thoughts, and please bring it to me.
Well, I'm the guru of public speaking, so
Wonderful.
I'm actually glad that you asked that.
Please.
So I know it's Friday afternoon. Where I am, it is really rainy and cloudy, but I would bring up your level of enthusiasm a couple of notches.
Okay.
Because while, you know, your product seems interesting and you have all these different flavors, it didn't exude from you. This is your baby. This is your product. You should be very, very animated, right? Okay. And while, you know, I listened out, you know, just to be very honest, you lost me the last 2 minutes. Okay. Because your octaves didn't go up and down. You were just giving me facts. And I was just like, oh, because a person's attention span is really only 30 seconds to about 1.5 minutes. So you have to do some key buzzwords to keep people engaged. So that's the only thing that I would say about your presentation. But it is a great product. I can see the value in it. So let me ask you 2 quick questions. Sure. So how do you differentiate your product versus other products, sea salt products that are already on the market?
Sure, thank you. So there's not very many small batch makers in the United States. When people think of like a gourmet finishing sea salt, you're typically thinking of Italy, the Mediterranean Sea, Cyprus, maybe Hawaiian sea salts, Himalayan, of course. So because we're such a young country, the history of salt is really very flat here compared to other countries. People aren't seeing it. They didn't grow up down the road from a salt field. So there's not many of us. So we really have to, I love other salt makers. I nerd out on salt, the chemistry, the history, and I love purchasing from other makers because they're doing incredible things in different ways. Everyone has access to different types of water with other mineral content. So just because I'm making this flaked finishing salt with a really nice clean finish, the Pacific Northwest is working with a different type of material, right? A different type of seawater. So that's going to provide different nuances in their salts as well. So in terms of what we do, we try to educate people on the differences of why the stuff I grew up with, the stuff with iodine, that's not naturally, doesn't naturally happen in sea salt, that's an additive. And the things that like have bleach that strip away the natural minerals and wind up mitigating the brininess of sea salt. So you use more of it. We're trying to actually differentiate ourselves with those companies, the ones that have been around for a long while that we grew up with. So we're a pure sea salt, you know, and people start to ask the questions of why is that different? And all I say is turn it over. If it has anything else but salt in that, or maybe rosemary, it's an infusion, get rid of it, throw it out because you don't need that. That's not naturally, doesn't naturally happen. Those additives don't take place naturally. So I think we're coming at it from an angle of pure sea salt and just educating people of what it's all about, you know, question where it's coming from, how it's prepared, and start to connect with all of your ingredients. It's something we use every day, but people don't really ask those questions of like, where did this come from?
Absolutely, absolutely. So my final question is, what steps are you taking to fulfill your 5-year plan?
So last year was a blessing in many ways, and I feel really fortunate for having the opportunity to step back and really think about where we've come in the last 4 years, right? So we're just entering our 5th year of our first dollar, and it really allowed us to strengthen in many areas that I feel like I spent probably about 10 months going, all right, we need to be a lot stronger coming out of this because we can't really pivot too much, right? So we did a lot of different things, including get NGLCC certified, which is awesome. Always something I wanted to do, but just didn't find the time, right? And it's revisiting those intentional lists I created a few years ago and making sure that I'm now being more intentional with my time to hit those. And a lot of the goals that we put in place year one are happening because I had a little bit of breathing room during COVID, which is incredible. So I think it kind of allowed me some space to redesign our roadmap to get to those goals, where some of these goals were a little bit further away, and I was just able to get there a lot quicker because of just having more time. So I think being, to get to your question a little bit more thoroughly, it's taking the time to really process what's been going on, and I'm making more space for that to happen. Too often we go so quick throughout the day and dealing with staff and issues and good stuff and clients, and we forget to kind of process and learn and grow from that. So that's what I'm doing more of right now, and we're hitting them. We're doing the check. I'm crossing them off from my list, all of my post-its.
Well, thank you so much, Maureen. I look forward to, I'm not near a Dillard's, but I will be near one soon, actually in the next couple of months. So I look forward to picking one up.
Cool. I will mail it to you. Go to our website. We'll get it to you. Don't let
Wonderful.
that stop you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Kim, don't worry, I can head to the store, pick it up, and ship it out to you. Just let me know, whatever you need.
Thank you.
Awesome. Lou, any thoughts here from Maureen as well?
Sure, I have a minute and 22, 21, 20.
You can go over. It's all about the depth of conversation. So go for it.
Sure. So Maureen, for presentations, I like to laugh, or I like to get aha things presented to me by a supplier or by a company. So I would try to look at your presentation, see where you can kind of incorporate some of those things, like, hey, let me take this with a grain of salt, and you just go do whatever you want, right? Yeah. So that will kind of get people to, that's kind of, I get it. But then also you did a little bit in the question and answer period is what's the pitch? Especially to a corporation, how does this fit in with my marketing? How does it fit in with my, employee recognition activity? You start to talk about that, but if you're going to be presenting to companies, you got to build that into your presentation as well. So you can maybe spend less time on all the other things you were talking about, maybe one slide of all the benefits, sustainability, certainly your certifications and your community involvement is an important element to have, and then spend the rest of the time kind of getting that connection with the company you're trying to sell your product to in the future, and just have fun with it. I agree. That energy really comes across.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead, Maureen.
Well, any other questions from anyone? I haven't been looking at the chat.
There is a question, which Chris is saying, can you show us how to enjoy it, like pictures of delicious food, or I like this suggestion, or cocktails?
Yes, thank you. Great suggestion.
Yeah, I think actually, since it is edible sea salt, there's a beautiful like blue sea thing, but it could be thought of as like a bath product too if you don't really see it in context. So perhaps showing like all the different uses, or at least like in the context of food and cooking and healthy, might actually help people kind of get it a little faster.
Great, thank you.
Awesome suggestions. Maureen, any other questions or thoughts that you have here for the judges or anyone in the audience?
Not at this time. This was my second pitch. It's so scary. So thank you. I didn't even realize I'm a pretty energetic person. So all of these things that I'm when you're not able, I feel a little disconnected from my body when I'm doing this, that just so much good feedback. I so greatly appreciate it. And I know the next one's going to be even stronger. So really appreciate this opportunity.
Awesome. We're so glad to have you. And Cyrus just put in the chat, people can't resist food photography. And I think that's absolutely right. So maybe the next thing you do is pair with an LGBTBE photographer who can do some, amazing staging for the product and help you sell even more, and partner with more restaurants and other things to make that happen. But I'm so excited to try the product. I'm so excited that you're here. And oh, I love that. Melanie says, love the website and all the great recipes. So I'm definitely going to take a look at those as well. But thank you, Maureen. Really
thank you. Be our Facebook and Instagram friends, please.
You got it. I'll do that right now. And with that, I am going to introduce our next presenter, which is Cyrus Golistan of Other is a Myth. Go for it, Cyrus.
Hey everybody, let me just get my screen share set up real quick. Here we go.
We love this Zoom world that we're in right now.
I didn't realize I could have pre-prepped it, but I didn't want to like interrupt the presentation. Let's see.
And Maureen, I'm following your Instagram now, so I love your little pride bottle. That's super cute.
There we go. Do y'all see that?
We can go for it.
Let's see, window. All right. So my name is Cyrus Golistan. I use he, him pronouns, and my company is called Other is a Myth. It is apparel designed to destigmatize differences and amplify allyship. So the mission and vision, I've always had an idea for graphic t-shirts with text on them, and COVID was the perfect opportunity to start doing that. I had to pivot from my photography business and launched last year. So Other is a Myth. It really focuses on something that I've believed my whole life. My mom is an American Christian and my dad is an Iranian Muslim immigrant. So I've lived between two worlds, and I've always understood that we have so much more in common that we have that's different. Also, I am transgender, so I lived as a female and now I'm living as a male. And I also think that there are so many perceived differences across gender and race and ethnicity that really doesn't serve us. And I think if we try to shed our us versus them thinking and the ideas of othering people, we will just be able to achieve such a better society and world. And a lot of these lines aim to empower and celebrate historically marginalized communities like the trans community, indigenous communities, sex workers as well. So it's definitely an advocacy driven line. About the products, we are 100% trans owned. We are sustainably sourced. We manufacture as much as we can in the US. All of our t-shirts are manufactured in the US. Some of our accessories are sourced elsewhere. For larger bulk orders, we are working on collaborating with a trans owned print company who's in the process of getting certified as well. And we are committed to the community. We give away 3 grants each year to TGNC BIPOC individuals for transition-related care, medical expenses, and education and certifications, as well as helping TGNC folks run for office and supporting their campaigns. So the collections, we have currently Ally is a Verb collection, Transvisibility, Honor Native Land, and the Statement Collection. The Statement Collection, it is bold text with short, thought-provoking ideas. One of our best sellers is Trans Healthcare Saves Lives, which is pretty simple, but right now there is so much there's so much legislation trying to criminalize trans healthcare in this country. And so it's really important for us to get the message out there. This is literally life-saving. Think beyond us versus them as well. We have the Transvisibility Collection. This was dear to my heart because I am now 4 years into my transition and I pass, or what I call, I am cis-perceived. So I want to be more visible than I am. So I created a line that it just puts trans up front and center, and it also celebrates other aspects of our identities. For example, there's American trans veteran, Asian trans marvel, New York trans prodigy, and immigrant trans badass. So 2 examples of these shirts being worn. On the left is Taylor Small. She is a Vermont House representative, elected last year, and she's wearing the elected trans official shirt. Her caption reads, "I learned today that my first bill, oh God, okay. My first bill, H128, actually banned the trans and gay panic defense. And it took a trans person being elected to actually put that into legislation. And on the right, a friend of mine is an immigrant asylum seeker from Iran and saved this shirt to wear after their top surgery. It says Persian trans Palavan, which is, it means champion in Persian.
30 seconds.
So basically, there's Ally as a verb. We collaborate with other trans-owned businesses. And my ask today, I'm still developing my 5-year plan because apparel and retail is brand new to me. But I do want to hear, like, what are some ways that you see others and myths fitting into D&I efforts, marketing, ERG efforts, annual Pride efforts and programming, and any other feedback that you have. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Cyrus. All right, Kim, let's start with you.
I'm so glad you're starting with me, Sabrina. Okay, Cyrus, love this. Absolutely love this. Like, this is the time that I've been so okay with my children coming downstairs and bothering me. So I absolutely embrace, why do I see you, Sabrina, and not him? I don't know, but I absolutely
select the gallery view, show the grid view, or close out the main screen and then show grid view so you can see multiple.
Okay. So I totally like the fact that you are marketing to multiple segments, right? So it seemed like you started off with all of the trans shirts, and I'm like, okay, so what about the allies, right? Allies is a verb. What about, the disruptors? Where are we? How can we market this to our corporation? So I think that, when you got down to that last minute, you were realizing that you were running out of time, because I saw a couple of your slides that went through. So maybe you could have brought that further up in your presentation, because that's the aha for me. I'm like, okay, Pride Month, okay, ERGs, okay, my kid's school, okay, but I didn't get that into the last minute of it. So great presentation. I saw that you were a little distracted at one point. Someone came in to talk to you, so make sure that you don't have any distractions when you're presenting. But all in all, I think that this definitely could be marketed to corporations and associations, but you need to bring that in within the first minute and a half of your pitch. Thank you. And any questions of me, feel free.
That's really helpful. Thank you. I mean, so like, what would be a good question to ask, for example? Like, how do I collaborate with AARP?
Yeah, like, so a great, a way you would start it off would be, so I have these lines of shirts. Here are the different segments. So these are shirts for people who are a part of the trans community. These are t-shirts for people who are allies. So tell us what our segments are so we can see right away where we fit in, right? And how can I work with you? Would it be best to work through your communications, your marketing, your ERGs, your supplier diversity? How can I get connected with the right people at your company? Because I need to see myself there. So I saw myself personally, but I didn't see my corporation there until the last minute.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kim. Lou, any thoughts here for Cyrus?
Yeah, great presentation, great product, great focus. I really enjoyed it. Just following what Kimberly would said, yeah, definitely get to the point where you see an integration with corporations. We all have employee resource groups. We all support Pride Month. We all do those things that are important to the community. So it's important to understand who we can reach out to help in our efforts. So just a couple of questions or suggestions. I think your story is important. I would move that up in the presentation. I built this company because I want this because of me. It's important to me, and it's important to recognize those people supported me, and why it's important to the community. So that's always important to integrate into your presentation. And then just more information. I mean, certainly, do you have a patent on all the brands and the messages you're sending? Because people can go get t-shirts anywhere. Why you? Why is your company the one that should be selected above all others? Or by someone just going to the street and looking for a t-shirt. So kind of build that into your presentation as well, because it shows that you're the game in town, you're the reason it's important, and you're who we should contact for your products.
That's really helpful. Thank you so much.
Excellent feedback, Lou. Thank you. All right, Jeannie, we're going to close with you for any thoughts here for Cyrus.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a corporate perspective, the fact that you're supporting the awards and elected, like, where your end game, where you wind up supporting and having funds go is easy to align with D&I initiatives within a firm sometimes. But playing off what Kim said, like, this could be really fun. Like, it's like, who are you? Or like when you get in the door, like you can pick, like, I'm an ally. Those trans shirts, can you mix and match? Like, can you build your own, top, bottom, middle, trans, just kind of like play in, like let people go in and say like, oh, that's me and I'm going to get this shirt, and that's me and I'm going to get this shirt, because you do kind of offer a nice spectrum of things that people can kind of like, go and sometimes you could probably have like if there's a D&I initiative, you could kind of have a team or everyone go in and buy their own shirts, if you get into the corporate strain on that too. But I think your story is great. I think what you're supporting, I like your logo too, the dot, and that might be a nice graphic element to, I haven't been on your website, but to kind of incorporate where there's text, also give like a kind of like stamp, so people can be like, oh, I have that shirt from that guy.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is great feedback. Great direction.
Do you mind if I chime back in and ask a question? I'm kind of going off of what Jeanne just said. So you said this all happened during COVID, right? So who have you marketed your shirts to? Who are your clients thus far?
I'm a community organizer and advocate. So I always had the community in mind. Activists, advocates, allies, trans folks. So basically like just marketing, like grassroots marketing through word of mouth. But I definitely want to take it to, the corporate level, because I know there is commitment, D&I commitment on that level. And then ultimately, getting into retail stores nationwide would be a goal.
Okay, so have you ever thought about, so you said you had a photography company and then you had to pivot during COVID. Have you tried to think about mirroring the two? So, you could have your photography company and your t-shirt line, because you could be taking pictures during Pride Month or different, like for an example, AARP, we have 50 state offices. We do Pride activities in at least 25 of the 50. We have activation booths where we could wear your shirts, but then we could also hire you as a photographer. Is that on your website that you have two companies and you kind of can work together?
It's not, but that's a great idea. Yeah, I mean, the activation sounds brilliant. Something within my wheelhouses for sure. So
wonderful. Well, I'm excited. I'm going to go to your website. Wish I would have known this a month ago so we could have had it for this whole month, but there's still time. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great feedback, judges. Thank you so much. And Cyrus, just looking at the comments, Amanda says, this is awesome, Cyrus. Love all of the declarations on the shirts and very timely as well. Brian says, market in the language of the people you want as customers, which is great feedback. And then Todd has a question. Todd is asking, are you doing screen printing, DTG? I don't know if that's direct to graphic. I don't know what that means, or iron-on transfer. And are you planning to use multiple vendors depending on where your clients are? All good questions, Todd.
Yeah, so I'm using a DTG, like printer and distributor that has different places in the US and Europe, so it can help keep prices down. Ultimately, I mean, I really liked Jeannie's idea of being able to customize the shirts. So that would maybe be like down the line, getting screen printing or iron transfer equipment to do like an on-site customization activation. But yeah, right now we're doing DTG.
Thanks, Cyrus. Awesome. All right. Well, really appreciate it. And judges, we did hear from our third presenter of round one, who unfortunately has had to dip out at the last minute. So with that, I'd love to just have a little chit chat with you. Kimberly and Lou, you both represent sort of the supplier inclusion side, and Jeannie, you represent the marketing side. So I would love to hear, based on your areas of expertise, what are some overall takeaways after hearing these first 2 rounds of pitches? And, any advice for suppliers here that are listening in on how they might consider how to, best make their entree into your companies through your respective lines of work within them. So, Lou, let's start with you.
Sure. Thank you, Sabrina. Well, in these overall pitches, it's kind of hard because you're trying to approach a bunch of different audiences here, more general in nature. But certainly, if you're going to present to a company one-on-one, then again, your research about that company, what they do, what your opportunities may be, what their supply chain is, that is important because you want to make a specific pitch. But certainly, as I said earlier, you have fun with your presentations, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is, practice, because you want to make sure you're hitting all the important elements that you want to get across in that time frame. And that way most of the questions may be answered, or you'll be more relaxed because you'll be really focused on the things that are really, really important to you in those presentations. So those are some just key elements that I would have you take away when you're making presentations to corporations.
Excellent points, Lou. Thank you so much for that. Kim, what about you? Any thoughts here?
Sure, I'll be very specific since we only have 2 suppliers here. I can be very specific to their product. So for the sea salt in particular, I think that the best way to get in the door at AARP would be, if you have it in your budget, to consider marketing your product in our magazine. AARP has the largest readership of magazines. So if you're willing to, spend those dollars in our magazine, and it would be targeting the 50 plus, but also the 50 plus community, as well as the millennial community, are more likely to care about being health conscious, right? So I'm in between the millennial, way past the millennial, but not quite 50 yet. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna use regular salt. I may not be your target market, but the 50 plus community who really, ask my mother, 75 years old, she always has all these different widgets and ways that I need to be cooking. I'm like, just move in and cook for the kids then. So for the grandkids. So I think that you may want to invest some dollars into some magazines or advertisement where you can hit a certain market who would benefit from your product. Also, I think Jeanne made a great point that, for us who are not as savvy in the kitchen, we may not know if this was for, the tub, that kind of salt, or if it's for food. So definitely pictures would be helpful, but that would be, I think, your best way into AARP. Now for the t-shirt, Cyrus, I would definitely, we're on day 11 of Pride Month. I would definitely go to aarp.org, find all of our state offices, literally they're all listed there, and send them an email. Here is my product. Would you like it? How can I work with you? Out of the 50, 25 of us, of our state offices do activities, and we're doing activities. But you first need to be in our supplier diversity portal. So if you're not in our portal, you do not exist. So go to supplier portal. Are you typing, my friend? supplierportal.aarp.org. Put your information in there, because that's the first place that our state offices are going to look to make sure that you are certified and have all of your stuff in there and have been vetted, through me. And I think that would be your entree in for our state offices. But once you're in our system, then that'll be your entree in for our corporate office here in DC, that we have all of our ERGs. Now, make sure that I get you indoctrinated into the life of AARP. So thank you guys so much.
Awesome, Kimberly. Thank you so much for that offer. That's so sweet. And Jeanne, last but certainly not least, any thoughts here you want to share with the group?
I think playing off what Kim was saying and the timing, if you, like for the t-shirts, probably June and holidays might be like big selling points. So just give yourself enough runway and have something really in place to market before those 2 time periods, because they're probably great times where people are looking for like gifts, or everybody wants to have the right deck out for like June. For the sea salts, one of the things that you mentioned, Maureen, is that you are corporate gifts, and in my line we do tons of client gifts, we do tons of like conference giveaways, we use them year round. So that might not be a bad idea to either try to get directly into businesses or partner with one of these companies that actually like will brand and package and send things out too. Just like, you know, I was actually very impressed with like the number of different channels you're already exploring. So that was just a thought there. But yeah, I think that these are both like really awesome products. So there's a lot of potential there.
Thanks so much for that.
I apologize. I said your name wrong multiple times. I apologize.
Thank you so much, judges, for your awesome feedback, and presenters, thanks so much for being a part of Sip and Pitch. I know it takes a lot of courage to come on. And again, this is totally designed to help y'all learn and grow. So I hope you found lots of useful information to help you all as business owners, and for folks on the line that are listening in and that are thinking about pitching at a future Sip and Pitch program. We definitely encourage you to do it. And of course, take the opportunity to check out our amazing businesses and their websites. And if we can ever be helpful at NGLCC in facilitating introductions, we will. And so my last question to the judges before we go for a little break and get ready for round two is, judges, how can we be thinking about how to better support LGBT businesses broadly year round, right? Pride is 12 months out of the year, not just one. So I'd love to get your thoughts on how we can better support LGBT businesses. And Kim, I know you've got thoughts, so I'm going to start with you.
As I'm typing in the chat, I was trying to type in all of our information. No worries. So how can we be more engaged throughout the year, not just this 1 month out of the year?
Yeah, and just as consumers too, not necessarily as just companies, but you know, we're going to talk about this more in community and conversation, folks. So make sure you're sticking around. But judges, I would just love your thoughts on that.
So I think that these Friday pitches are great. That's definitely one way to engage. You know, you guys reached out to me a couple of days ago and I just couldn't say no because I'm like, I always want to meet new and innovative suppliers. I also really do enjoy, now we're in this virtual world, right? I think that we're going to kind of open up in the next couple of months. But I know one thing that we've done in DC before at NGLCC's corporate office is we would have more like gatherings at your office so we can meet different suppliers. I thought that was really great. I am a touchy-feely, talk to you, know you engagement type of person. So I look forward to us, you know, going back to that. And then also, I really do like the list that, I'm not sure if I still get them now, but I used to get lists from you all that would say, okay, here's my list of NGLCC members who sell PPE products. Here's my list for marketing. Now, I only seem to really get that around Pride Month. And I'm like, so I'm on the holidays. Yeah, no, I would like to get it every quarter. So another organization that I work with, Disability In, I get it every quarter. They kind of break it down. Here's the new ones, just in case you want to know. So here's a whole list, and here's the highlighted new ones that came in over the last 3 months. And I'm like, oh, okay, top of mind. So that really is helpful for me because it doesn't go into a black hole. Now it's like, oh, and I actually send that out to my state offices because they're really the boots on the ground doing all of the spending on a more day-to-day basis. So that would be very helpful for me.
That's awesome. And Sean from our engagement center is here. So Sean, we're going to have to take that note and yep. Sean's like, oh no, not me. Yes, I think that's an awesome idea. You know, why wait for certain times of the year to be able to share information like that, but keep it consistent year round. And we hear time and again that these lists outside of the amazing list that Sean pulls dozens of times a day for different RFP needs and so forth, it's really helpful to help y'all contextualize the industries that our BEs are working and growing in. So thanks so much for that. That's excellent feedback. And soon we all will be able to hug and hang out in person and do the things if we're vaccinated. So most of us are. So Jeannie, any final thoughts here on how we can be supporting LGBT businesses year round, either as companies or individuals?
Yeah, you know, sometimes there's like a real central place and one person who's going to make all these buying decisions, but often there's other people that have different opportunities throughout a firm, like whether it's big or small. I was sort of thinking like maybe if you could send something to your contact at the firms and ask them to include it in their HR newsletters or their internal comms. Sometimes there's like a monthly piece that goes out to all employees. And if you like almost like pre-wrote a little something and say, hey, like, would you want to include this in your employee newsletter or whatever? It might be a way to, you know, not just have your single point of contact at these firms, but also like have a wider reach to people that might have other connections and network effect that way, or like see a name or see a business type that they're like, oh, I wanted to do that for like my non-work thing. So if you just kind of maybe just make other people work for you, it might work.
That's awesome. I love that suggestion. Great idea, Jeanne. And Lou, we're going to close out with you. Take us home.
All right. Well, certainly, registering on a supplier's website is the first step. Having your certification and registering, getting your company profile in there so that we can start finding out, who are our LGBTQ suppliers that may be able to help us in our supply chain. So that's a key note for all suppliers. But I know that a lot of corporations are still trying to understand, the value of including LGBTQs in their supply chain. So it's incumbent upon NGLCC and corporations who are involved with them to kind of help spread that word amongst our corporate partners, which is what I proudly do. The other thing is that I found quite interesting. I've only been at Robert Half for 3 months. I was at AT&T for a lot of years, and of course, large supply chain. So things are different here. But I also found that employee resource groups are brand new at Robert Half. So one of my plans is that as I start going to events again, as trade fairs start opening up next year, instead of taking 3 procurement people, I'm going to take maybe 2, and I'm going to bring one from our LGBTQ employee group to go with me as well, because you have to start to engage those folks so they can be internal ambassadors for you in your organization. So again, that's the way to really get people involved, let them understand, help you advocate for different organizations, and certainly continuing to work with NGLCC. And showing up is how we do it.
All excellent points, Lou, and thanks for being such an amazing supporter and advocate. We're so excited to have you with us now at Robert Half. Cyrus, you got a comment. Can you please also share your Facebook? Awesome, love that. So folks, we are going to take a few minutes to stretch our legs. If you're ready to start sipping, you go ahead and get your drink ready to start sipping. I'm still good on my sparkling water, but we'll see you back in just about 7 minutes for round 2. And in the meantime, you can always reach out to us at education@nglcc.org with any questions or thoughts. But thank you so much for sticking around for round 1, and we'll see you back in just a few.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to NGLCC LGBT Sip and Pitch Fridays. We are kicking it off for round 2, and a big thanks to everyone for being here as NGLCC celebrates Pride 2021. Again, for those who just joined, my name is Sabrina Kent. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Senior Vice President overseeing supplier diversity and programs like this at NGLCC. We have some incredible judges here with us today. Jeanne Mclaughlin, head of US marketing for TradeWeb. I just had the pleasure of meeting with TradeWeb earlier this week as a part of their Pride programming. And Jeanne, we're so happy to have you here with us. Unfortunately, Kim Marcus was only able to join us for round 1, but if you were here for round 1, you know that she had a lot of amazing insights to share with our suppliers. And of course, we have Lou Rosas, who is Director of Supplier Inclusion at Robert Half. Lou, we're very excited to have you here with us. So before we jump into what our amazing presenters and judges have to share, I want to run over the rules, the lay of the land for Sip and Pitch for those who weren't here before. So each presenter is going to have 5 minutes to pitch. There will only be 1 presenter from each participating company, and the judges are going to have 10 minutes for feedback and Q&A. Of course, we can be flexible because we want to make sure we get all the feedback we can during the session. No presentation, no problem. This program is designed to be informal, to provide real-time feedback. We're here to help folks learn, grow, and scale up their businesses. If you are not speaking, please mute your microphone. That ensures that we can hear everything that folks have to share on the line. And right after this, we've got community and conversation. So there's going to be lots of time to share and talk as a group. Our team will provide verbal warnings at both 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining. So Lauren, can you say hi for the group?
Hi, everyone.
Awesome. That's Lauren. Lauren is all things incredible at NGLCC. She makes us do many things like run on time and smoothly, and that is no different today. In Sip and Pitch, she's going to keep time for us to make sure everything is moving along. So please don't be upset with Lauren when she has to briefly interrupt at 1 minute and both 30 seconds remaining to let you know where you are in terms of time. And of course, you have her timer there as a visual aid to make sure that you're staying on track for your presentation. Remember that this is a judgment-free zone, and we are here to have fun. So with that, it is my pleasure to turn it over to Todd with Fuel. Take it away, Todd.
Great, I'm first. Okay. Let me share the screen. All right. Well, my name is Todd Kazin, and I am based out of San Diego. I have been in the print industry for 20 years. Due to COVID, I saw a large decline in printing. And so a project that I've been working on for the last 2.5 years is called Fuel. It's where ideas ignite. And it's actually going to be coming to San Diego in 2021. And what that is it's a niche co-working space and business incubator. So what I've been doing is I've been on the board, or I was on the board for the local chamber here, the LGBTQ chamber here, and I was also been part of the organization since 2008. And I've been noticing that there's networking that happens, there's events that happen, but there's nothing that really focuses on trying to develop new businesses in San Diego as far as the LGBTQ plus community goes. So that's what I've decided to do. It is going to be focused on the community, but the doors are going to be open to anybody. Our goal is to provide a safe and inclusive workplace. Fuel will be separated in 2 phases. The first is the co-working space. The second is the Fuel Business Development Program, or FBDP, which is going to be unique to Fuel because I'll talk about it in a couple of minutes. Our goals, our current goals, are to focus on creating the space, which will be coming out in 2021, September. We want to build brand awareness around Fuel, scout locations. We still haven't narrowed that down yet, but we're getting close. Raise funds and corporate sponsorships. Develop relationships with local chambers. And the reason why we want to do that is because we know that not only is the local LGBTQ chamber important, but there's the Black Chamber of Commerce, there's the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, there's the Pan-Asian Chamber of Commerce, which we could connect with and provide them with a place that they can do seminars, trainings. A lot of these places do not have an actual mailing address. They have, it's literally because of COVID, they've gone virtual. A lot of the boards on all of the chambers are volunteers. So we're hoping to provide them a space that they can use and be safe for even their members. Our future goals is to offer small business loans and grants. We plan to have 5 locations in 8 years. And again, the creation of the business development program. As far as the facility, we are looking at 1,800 square feet with 6 private offices, 15 flex desks, 4 dedicated desks, 2 media rooms, or a total of 4. And then we're gonna have what we call the fireplace. That is our conference room. That is where the FBDP is actually going to be the core. That is the main, that's where the fire will ignite. As far as our community plans, we have 5. We have the starter plan, the kindling plan, the flint plan, the flame plan, and the burner. As you can tell, we're all dealing with the whole fuel fire thing. We're trying to increase awareness around that, the fuel. And then as far as sponsor events throughout the year, we plan to make connections for our members, happy hour networking, chamber mixers, graduations, art exhibits, community outreach. We plan to have booths at the different festivals that are here in San Diego. And then as far as our program, which is our Fuel Business Development Program, we have 2 parts of it. We have the startup, which is going to be $6,000. This is for the first-time business owner. Our goal is to provide tools necessary to create a business. And so what they're going to get at the end of this is they're going to get a website. They're going to get entry-level website. They're going to get a branding. They're going to get a logo. They're going to get 20 hours with business experts focusing on different aspects of business. So we all know that quote, we all know what we do well, and we have to hire out the rest. Well, that's what I'm hoping to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have 2 categories for each industry, and they're going to be, so a new member comes to us, they pay us $6,000, they're going to have like 5 hours with a business lawyer, they'll have 4 hours with an accountant, so that everything is set up. So by the end of their 4 months, they're going to actually have a business and know what to do and not just try to figure out who can do my website, who can do this. We're actually going to give them power partners. So the second part is the incubator. This is for those that have been in business for a year, but less than 2 years. It's more about connecting with them, trying to figure out what they're doing differently. And they're going to get 10 hours with our business experts. They're going to have a weekly sessions with a business coach. They're going to get credit towards like marketing material, and they're going to have 2 months access
1 minute.
to our facility. So a little bit about the partner program. The benefits are you're going to get 6 to 12 business referrals each quarter. You're going to have access to the facility for your own business use. These are some of the industries that we're going to have represented, like banks, graphic designers, web designers. A lot of these companies cannot use our space because they have their own private offices due to corporate regulations, but they can use our space. And that is the point. That is what we're trying to accomplish for our people that take part in our FBDP. And then as far as our partner plans, we have our business
30
development partner,
seconds.
which is $1,020 a year. We have our community partner, which is our nonprofits. And then we have our corporate partners, which is $1,500. And the benefits for all that is you get access to our facility, you become a partner, you actually become a sponsor on our website, and you also get connected to all these different businesses that are using our space. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. Oh my goodness, I did it.
Great job, Todd. Awesome. I
was
do
going
have
like-
some. Go
I was
ahead.
going about 5 minutes and 30 seconds for a while there, but yeah.
No, that was awesome. I'm so excited about this. And I was wondering, like looking at the community plan pricing and then the partner plan pricing, are these like competitive with a WeWork and other things? I'm just curious. I haven't personally looked into those.
If you're talking about the plans themselves, yes, they are competitive. I mean, we are like the actual, like the desk and all that stuff. But if you're talking about the community partners, I think we're in the same ballpark. A lot of them don't do that right now. I mean, some of them are doing it. They have like the corporate. I think there are a lot more, to be honest with you. I haven't delved. I wanted to make it effective to essentially, pay for the cost and then grow from there. Because right now, I mean, I have a certain budget that I'm trying to work with. So once we get to that next level, I can offer more benefits and stuff like that. So, but yeah, as far as I've gone to 12 different co-working spaces here in San Diego. So I have done my research. This has been almost a 2-year research. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Todd. Lou, I'm going to start with you for any thoughts or feedback here for Todd.
You got to unmute yourself, unfortunately. Lou, you got to unmute yourself.
All right, let me start over. I love your logo. That was a great logo. It grabs you, it gives you an idea of what you're going to start hearing about. So that was a really good start to it. Driving your program and descriptions around that whole idea of fire and heat was good. So that's a good continuation to the part of your presentation. It's hard for me to assess the potential for the company because it's brand new. I think it's great. I think it's a great idea. I think it's certainly a way to engage new companies at certain certain steps in their development. I can see potential pitches to corporations to sponsor some businesses at the different levels. That's certainly, I think that's probably of your plan as well. So that's where I see the possible fit in coming to corporate America for these things, because certainly there's organizations like NGLCC that does supplier development as well. Chambers do supplier development as well. So again, as you make your pitch, make sure that there's that differentiation, because there are these other organizations doing similar supplier development. So kind of what sets you apart, what are the specialty things you can bring to the table. And certainly I want to keep an eye on where you grow, because right now you're San Diego focused. So as you start growing the next couple of years, kind of how that growth takes place, because certainly I am big on supplier development as opposed to large sponsorship or event attendance. So I want to keep an eye on kind of where you grow. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, the other cities that we're interested in, or I'm interested in, is Seattle, Denver, Los Angeles, and then DC, and then possibly New York. The thing is, I want to be in markets that I can, that it's affordable, but then they also have a large LGBTQ plus presence. Like Seattle has the largest, I think, chamber in the United States right now. So, and Los Angeles is, I don't know, I've heard different stories. It's not as large as you would think based on how big the city is. So.
Thanks for that feedback, Lou. And Todd, something else that comes to mind, like I know in New York, and the name is escaping me, so forgive me, there's a specific space that's dedicated to women professionals to have a co-working space. It kind of acts like a Soho house almost for women. Of all, sort of diverse backgrounds and professionals. So definitely something I think to look into as in terms of like what their models look like and what they offer to women professionals as well. But Jeannie, I would love to hear your thoughts.
I think that's called the Wing, right? Like it's very much like.
There's also Hera
Thank you.
Hub. I don't know if you've heard of Hera Hub, but Hera Hub does the same thing.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think it's a really great idea. It'd be very interesting. I think people, like, I know some organizations have given up their corporate real estate or their, brick and mortar offices right now, but you struggle to create that employee engagement and sense of community. So it seems like a really good time for this to be out marketing it. I'm going to echo what Lou said. I think your theme is so tight and cohesive. I love it. It's like a really nice play on words. You've got the logo. It's really well organized, but it also it inspires people like, oh, like we are going to have a spark of an idea. We are going to get this fire going and make things happen. So I think that your marketing and messaging around it is great. I did have a question, like the startup and the incubation part. Do you envision, like, where are you getting the partners? Were you looking to corporations that sponsor you to send volunteer lawyers or people that have expertise in?
No, so what's going to happen is, like, when they pay us $6,000, and because I was on the board for the chamber here, and I have all those connections, I'm literally making my list of all the people that represent the different industries, and I'm contacting them. We're actually going to pay them for their services. They're not coming as volunteer. So essentially, I'm not seeing the full 6,000. I'm only getting probably like 20% of that, but we're actually going to pay people. And so that's why we're asking them to pay us to be a partner. So it works both ways. So I get $85 a month from them, but then they get a potential of, whatever I negotiate, which right now, like I said, like an accountant will get 4 hours at $75 an hour kind of thing. So that's what they're going to get. The business lawyer, like they're going to get 2 hours with the business lawyer to identify whether or not they're going to be a C Corp or an S Corp. But then it's like a $200. I mean, I would like to see if we can bring their hourly rate a little bit since we're providing them with the thing. But obviously, I do not want to, I don't want to downgrade people's, industry. So
yeah, no, that's great. So you get the place to do your work. You get, immediate access and pipelines into experts that you need to be successful. And maybe if you can get larger corporate, like maybe if you get a sponsorship from a local law firm, maybe they can have pro bono work or something like that. So you can.
And that's one person, a lawyer actually. She says, I would love to just give, talk to your group, and I'll do it, for free. And I'm like, that's great. So yeah.
But I need to be available when my clients need you, so you'll figure it. Yeah. But I think it seems really well timed and really, as you said, you had 2 years to think it out. So
yes, it also helps that I have friends that are graphic designers. I also have friends that I'm in the printing. So I have that sales and marketing, being in sales and for print for 20 years. I can see what works, what doesn't work. So it does help. Yes.
It shows. Very nice.
Yeah, awesome, Jeanne. Thank you.
My PowerPoint went from like 20 down to like 5. My boyfriend, I guess that's what he did in high school. It was that's all they did is they focus on PowerPoint. So he sat there and was like, get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Yep, it went down.
Well, that's the beauty of trying to figure out how to condense these things into 5 minutes. I think, whether it's passing by somebody at the conference or you're both ordering, drinks at the bar at the same time, or you're stuck in an elevator and literally doing the elevator pitch, it's definitely helpful to think about what are the most important things that I want to convey. So I think you did great, Todd, and thanks so much for being a part of the program.